Hey, what's up, y'all? Okay, let's talk about writer's block, right? Writer's block, I mean, a lot of people have this phenomenon. I hear about this a lot. I get asked about it a lot. As somebody who writes a lot of songs, composes, for part of my living, etc. How do I deal with writer's block? Well, I mean, it's silly to me, writer's block, kind of. It's like, what do you do, Andy, when you forget how to walk? I've forgotten how to walk. I don't know where to put my foot. And, I guess if you're writing songs, you've got a lot more places and options to put your foot, so to speak. So we get that. But here's, and even more so in 2025, there's so many ways to get over a thing like writer's block, right? So I'll say this. So first of all, just think of it like walking or running, like it can be a very mechanical thing. Like if you feel like you're blocked up and, nothing's coming out right or whatever, that's fine. Like so often I start things out and I'm like, what is this? This is junk or whatever. And the more you kind of keep playing with it, it changes subtly. Or little additions or subtractions happen. That's the magic, So like the trick, if you ask me, the trick is like, keep going, keep putting one foot in front of the other. You just keep going. And, so if that's notes, if you're trying to compose some things, just lay them down. Just do it. Just do it. Just get in there, start writing things. The worst thing that happens is you write a thing that you don't keep. Who cares, right? It's supposed to be fun. This is music. Music should be, I was going to say the most fun thing in your life. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it can be. For me, music is one of the most fun things in my life that I can do at any given point in time is to write some music, for sure. I'm like thinking like, yeah, it'd be more fun to be like down in the studio, like just writing some music with no purpose or point at all than doing this right here. Sorry. But that's the truth of the matter. There's nothing better than songwriting. So getting locked up about it or even turning it into a thing where it becomes like frustrating, that's like sad. That makes me sad for you. Don't do that. Don't let songwriting turn into a thing that's like frustrating for you, right? So like just take it one step at a time, little bits. Work on a little melody. Use something tried and true. Start out in the 1-4-5. Just get you three good chords. Take your dream to it, and then maybe play around with a little melody on it, just a couple of notes. See what happens. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to like have a little fun playing music. Unless you're all up in your head about, is this good? Is this the one? Is this going to be the thing? Because like I haven't even, broached the subject of where does the music actually come from anyways? Because I know in the case of me, I don't generally, and I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs. You can look me up on any platform, on any streaming platform, and you're going to find lots of music from me. And most of it was not intentionally written. Vast majority of it, by far, like over 90% of it, I would say, was not written intentionally. As in, I'm not one of those songwriting people that's like, all right, I got this idea, and it's going to be this, this, and this, and I can't wait to get back to the thing, and I'm going to, I've never done that, I don't think. I'm just not that kind. I don't do things that way. I just sit down and start playing, just one foot in front of the other, and see what comes my way, And so the same thing applies even for lyrics, because I'm thinking like, it may be a good time to point out that I have written songs over the years that I don't have any idea what they're about, and that does reference lyrical content now. No idea what they're about until like some moment like later, within maybe a year, maybe 5 years later with one or two of them. Like later in time, I hear that song just at the right time and I'm like, oh my God, I get it now. Seems as though my my future self was writing a song through my past self for me to kind of have in that moment when that moment came around, and I mean, it verges on the edges of the weird stuff and getting hokey, but it's real, it's legit. Sorry, it's my life. It's happened several times over my lifetime, and so it all leads me to believe that while I do have a lot to do with the music that's coming out of me, excuse me, I think it's more so music coming through me. It's about getting in a state and a frame of mind where that music is allowed to come through me, to where I can, and it does, because honestly, so many, again, the vast majority of my songs aren't planned, of course, like I said, but I also, I don't have much memory of actually tracking them out and writing them, not long-term, at all, maybe in the short term, but I mean, it's just a blur, and it happens so often just in one session. Usually the song is written, one session, and often fully tracked and done, just a couple of hours, and it's this blur that I don't remember. So that's what leads me to believe, it's possible that the music is out there and coming to and through me for whatever reason somehow. And that's how some of that songwriting occurs, But again, I'm not going to get myself into a receptive state that I can, have that stuff happen and be able to, do something with it until I'm in there putting one foot in front of the other, even if it's the most simplest little thing. I once saw Bela Fleck. He's a banjo player. If you don't know who he is, look up Bela Fleck, one of the greatest musicians of our time. I once saw him playing a live set, and he played an entire song, a whole composition, out of one open note on his banjo, right? And it was very interesting. It was not lacking for a thing, and it was, the combination of timing, dynamics, how he was plucking that string, how open or muted that string was. There was apparently a ton of things that he could do to variate that note. Is that a word? Variate? To introduce variation into that, that he was playing with one note, just one note, and it's maybe a good time to point out, there's only 12 damn notes in the first place. Whatever we're doing, I mean, I'm often mystified by what, how do I continually write things that are wholly different from the previous things that I've written, because I say wholly written because as I'm saying that, I definitely things come out of me that are very similar and share, parts of a line and things like that. And I usually catch it and don't allow it, but sometimes it does more and more. And as I get older and my body of work grows larger, I allow more and more accidental whatevers to come through because it's all a flavor of the full package, and I don't really want to manipulate that package, I guess. So, and that all goes back to the conversation that we're having, which is writer's block and getting just stopped in your creative process. That can be another strategy. So I kind of had mentioned earlier, in today's age, whatever, there's so many things. There are so many distractions and tools and things that you can do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking yourself out of the creative process. Find another creative outlet. I've discovered personally that as long as I'm doing something creative, I won't go insane. Right. I have this, I will, if I'm not doing anything creative, I will kind of implode and become the biggest ass. But as long as I'm doing something creative, it scratches that itch, and that's all I need. And so my most favorite creative thing to do probably is music, of course. And so if I give that a little break, if I have 1 day or 2 days where I go in and I guess my version of writer's block would be just continually churning out shit, right? I go in there and my general goof off type setting is, Ableton with my loop setup running and everything turned on, and I just start looping up things and goofing around. And sometimes they're awesome and super cool and fun. I'm like, wow, that was dope. And then other times it's just wow, that was shit. It's so if I have 2 days or 3 days of man, there's nothing but shit coming out right now. I'm like, okay, let's maybe not do that tomorrow. You know, I'll give it a break for a day or 2 or 3 or even a week. It's just like, you never know. And then you might get sidetracked into something else. But as long as you're kind of staying in a creative world, that hole won't open up that turns you into an asshole like me. If you're like me, who knows? Maybe just me. But, and then when you add on to that, yeah, like I said, there's so many, like, you play games, you can do whatever. Seek inspiration. YouTube is phenomenal, for just inspiration. Look around and see what other people are doing in music. Like, it's so easy to get inspired. There's so much music, like, everywhere on every platform if you just look around and stuff. So that's my 14 cents on writer's block and songwriting. Don't let it happen to you. Just have fun. Charge ahead. Cheers.